Okay, hey everybody, Dan Fitzpatrick, stockmarketmentor.com. Welcome to Bitcoin Monday, man. Actually, over the weekend, this thing started running pretty good. So this is what the weekly chart looks like. You can see we're really closing in on 90,000. Nice thing is that you don't have to buy one Bitcoin. You can buy $5 worth if you want, or 5,000, or like, by the way, Michael Saylor seems to be doing it, as well as the US soon enough, like 5 billion. There's a lot of money coming into this, and I think there's a lot of money that's going to continue to come into this. So if we look at the daily chart, you can see, let me get this thing. Let me get this thing squared away here. Hang on just a second. Okay, here's the daily chart. You can see this thing's really been on a tear. Now, my buddy Scott McGregor does Crypto Market Mentor, and he's got people literally retiring early. I mean, they're crushing it over at Crypto Market Mentor. But I'm not going to, you're either in or you're out. I mentioned this in this morning's training session for Stock Market Mentor. I went into a lot of detail on this as far as a trial to that resource being a whopping $7 for 14 days. And Scott's crushing it over there. $7. That is $7 for 14 days. And I also mentioned this to people. If you're like, I'm serious, I don't mean this in a bad way, but if you're so cheap or frugal that you don't even want to risk $7, then go ahead and subscribe anyway. If you cancel, I'll send you the $7 back myself. So anyway, enough about that. You're either in or you're out. That's the way it goes. But I want to show this because this thing, the way this is moving, and it's really, to me, more compelling on the weekly chart. The way this is moving, this has a pretty pretty good chance of hitting 90,000 pretty soon, like really soon. So my suggestion is you're either in or you're out, but one way or another, this is going to go. It's either with you or without you. Now, this is Stock Market Mentor, not Crypto Market Mentor. So I want to look through. The things that we've got going here with iBit. This was a stock that we got into a while ago before this big run. It had been in a nice trading range. This maroon magenta line here is the 8-period moving average. You see all these other lines. The red line is 3 standard deviations. The black line is 2 standard deviations. These are classic Bollinger Bands. And when a stock runs outside 3 standard deviations, like it is now, it has a very high likelihood of pulling back. This, or at least drifting sideways, not necessarily this, but at least drifting sideways. And so what I wanted to show you here, I'll take these out for just a second. What we don't know is whether this is going to run up further before it drifts back. But you can see right up here, there's really no place that this is run outside 3 standard deviations. If you look at MicroStrategy, this is also outside 3 standard deviations, and it hasn't been here before. Let's see what MSTX is like. This thing is crushing 3 standard deviations. So all of this stuff, we'll look at Riot. I don't know what that is. It's me with typing dyslexia. Riot is at 3 standard deviations. Mara at 3 standard deviations. CleanSpark at 3 standard deviations. So what I'm telling you in all of this is this stuff is massively overbought. Now, the thing about stocks and just charts that show overbought and overbought nature, they just continue to get more and more overbought all the way up until the time that they don't. A classic mistake made by traders, or typically people who used to trade, a classic mistake is they'll look at something like this and say, oh, I'm shorting this. I'm shorting this because, oh, 3 standard deviations, this gone up enough. It's never done this before. I got to get short this. Now, that's a pretty crowded trade. And it's probably one of the reasons why these things just continue to go higher. There's a lot of reasons for the big enthusiasm in Bitcoin. One of them is Michael Saylor continues to buy more. I think the guy with MicroStrategy wants to just corner the market. Also, you know that foreign nations, other nations are actually buying Bitcoin as a store of value or reserves. And Trump has given every indication on many, many times. I think he was even at some Bitcoin convention saying that he wanted to do that as well, that the US would start investing in Bitcoin. And by the way, they ain't day trading that stuff. They're just soaking up supply. And so there's a lot of reasons for Bitcoin to be running up. And one thing I mentioned in this morning's note, if you're a member, you've read this. If you're not a member, well, you should have read it. Is that the biggest knock on Bitcoin, on crypto in general, is, oh, it's worthless. It's worthless. There's no value there. Well, dude, there's no value in the dollar either. The dollar's freaking worth less than nothing because we owe so much money. I think over 39 trillion bucks in dollars. You could say gold isn't worth anything either. It's not worth anything. What is it? It's a big, heavy yellow metal. All right, well, so why are the dollar and gold, why do they have a price? And I'll tell you why, because they're accepted mediums of exchange. The price right now of MicroStrategy is $340.24. That's the fair value of MicroStrategy. Why do we know that? Because that's where the stock traded. It is fair market value. The price of gold, at least GLD, is $242.11, this chart. Why? Because that's where the stock is trading right now. So this is the fair price, and it'll change tomorrow. But if the bids totally dropped out of this and there was nobody wanting to buy this stock, the fair value would be zero. And so it's important to be mindful of that when you're looking at a new asset like Bitcoin, because one of the things that's freaking out all the politicians and all the central bankers on this particular planet is that Bitcoin is gaining in popularity, and there's others as well. Ethereum, Solana, I get that, but I just hold a bunch of Bitcoin and I'm happy. I'm really, really happy. But the reason that these central banks and these politicians and these treasury departments, like good old jumping Janet Yellen, a compelling case for mandatory retirement if I've ever seen one. The reason that they're so pissed off is because, and Gensler, I could go on, is because Bitcoin is gaining an acceptance, and it's the acceptance of something that actually creates the value. I'll say it again. It is the acceptance of something that actually creates the value. If enough people start to value Bitcoin, they see it's actually worth something. They see it's actually an asset class. There's going to have to be something major that happens to convince everybody that it has no value. Think about COVID. How many lemmings, and you may have been one of those, how many lemmings were wearing masks, running to the drugstore to get your free COVID shot and maintaining your distance and being pissed off at somebody who was walking through the parking lot 100 feet away, not wearing their mask? How many of you were doing that? Okay, well, is it easy for somebody to dissuade you to believe that, you know what, maybe we went a little overboard? Some people will cling to that and maintain that was the correct way to do this. Now, no disparaging meaning for any of that, but the point is, you cannot dissuade a massive mass of crypto owners and investors that suddenly their asset is worth zero. There's too many of them. There's just too many of them. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to lay out this case in a really, really simple way. I ain't talking about blockchain or or anything. No kind of chain gang. It doesn't matter. I don't care about that right now. What I'm talking about is just the mass, we'll call it the delusion of crowds. If you think that the crowd is delusional with respect to Bitcoin, you know what I would say? I would say join the crowd. That's what I would say. Join the crowd because this thing is going higher. Now, is it going higher today? Well, it went higher today, but is it going higher tomorrow? Now we're back here at 3 standard deviations. Let's go into the intraday here. You can see where this, I mean, the thing that's really, really obvious is you get this big spike up and then a drift sideways here. So this started to lose momentum now, 3 standard deviations here. This is off the 30-minute chart. The 3 standard deviations just exploded past this, but this is dropping in momentum. You can see the others doing essentially the same thing, just pulling back a little bit. Riot, more so than that. We'll go through these. Okay, so all of these got really, really big first thing in the morning and then started rolling over. So my sense is that we could see a bit of a pullback tomorrow. It's you can't, if unless you're brand new to trading or you've got some emotional problem, I'll say challenge, you can't look at this and say it's going to the moon. It might. But you can't, this is not good trading if you just want to buy here. You have to be waiting for some type of a better entry on this. And this is what I would suggest doing. Okay. So, or is it, here we go. So this is how I would suggest doing this. You can apply this to any of these charts. I just drew this this prospective candle, I should say. And what I'm telling my members is you can ride this, just continuing to ride it. But as soon as you see this type of thing, like maybe it'll gap up tomorrow, but then if it trades down and closes in the lower part of the range, like really low in the range, in other words, there's really no there's really no wicks. I can't get this right in the middle. There's really nothing like that, but it's kind of more like this, this type of thing. If it closes right at the low of the day or close to it, that's your sign that this trend is ending, at least for now. I don't know what, and you're going to see this, whether it's tomorrow or Wednesday, but one of these days, you're going to see this pull back. And so my suggestion is on this, keep an eye on this chart. This one, it doesn't really matter. That this one is irrelevant right now. It's moving too much. So keep an eye on the daily chart. And then you can even look at the stock on an intraday basis and just keep track of it on the volume weighted average price. So here, like the VWAP is down here at 48.23. So if you say, well, when the stock starts trading below the VWAP, then I'll go ahead and take some of this off. All right, well, that gives you a risk of about 3%. Or you can say, no, I think I'll keep it down. Maybe I'll even close it if it falls below today's opening or today's intraday period low. That's 6.3%. So this is how you would protect your position. Or guess what? You could do a bunch of both here. You could do half here just below the volume weighted average price and half just below the opening rotation low of 46.53. If you're doing that, then you're not going to be too far from top ticking it. Okay, you can do it something like this. Like I just drew these lines here. I snapped the line just before today's volume weighted average price. If this is going to continue to work, this VWAP is going to continue to stair step up. So maybe you take half off the table here, and then you set your other stop right here at 46.50. That's just below today's intraday low. And so you're out here at 48.11, you're out here at 46.50, and that gives you a pretty nice cost basis on your exit. And if you've been in this for the long haul, selling somewhere around here gets you out very close to the top. What I would not suggest to, unless you're a longer term holder, and by the way, I've been holding Bitcoin for years and years, and I'm not trading it, obviously. I'm just holding it. But unless you're a real holder of this, if you're a trader, once this has made its move lower, I personally would not suggest holding any, because this could give you a heck of a move lower. If you do decide to just hold some through whatever pullback this is going to give you, at least be aware that you can always buy it back if this starts to move higher. You can't always sell it at a higher price if it continues to move lower. So just make sure, I guess what I'm saying is just make sure you have your trading plan intact. If you have your trading plan intact, you're good. And two last things. First of all, $7. Consider going over to Stock Market Mentor, and you'll see the opportunity to join for crypto. Again, guys, it's $7. And guess what? And we're going to fix this pretty soon. Right now, the enrollment is, I'll show you. Right now, get instant access. Okay, $7, and after that, it's $97 a month. All the other subscriptions for Stock and Option Market Mentor are $147 a month. So I'm going to ask you this. How long do you think CMM is going to be available for $97 a month? Because they're crushing it over there. Frankly, I feel like the low price is actually giving the sense that it's not worth very much. I should be charging $247 or $347 for it. So get locked in at $97 if you want. If you don't, or if you really don't have $7 to spare, I wish you all the best. Okay. And the other thing is, don't pay any attention to all the idiots that are posting on the page below the video here about how somebody's made $30,000 over the last 15 minutes because of some knucklehead who's a crypto expert. He or she or it or they or them are not. It's a scam, and that's that. All right. Love you guys. See you next time.